Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, the climate guy setting the record straight about climate. In this video, I show you how global warming is a religion, not a science. Popular Science has a brand new article out explaining how fossil fuels cause both global warming and global cooling. The article says that this warming prior to 1940 was caused by widespread car ownership, but this cooling after 1940 was also caused by fossil fuels. The 1940 spike, booming industry and widespread car ownership likely spurred this jump above average. It was cut short ironically by a burst of aerosol pollution from coal and oil, which actually cools the planet. So according to Popular Science, fossil fuels cause both global warming and global cooling. The underlying philosophy being that humans are to blame for everything. This is the religion of the left. This religion began on this date in 1988 when James Hansen from NASA testified before Congress. This is the graph which James Hansen presented in 1988 showing global temperatures. I overlaid the Popular Science claims on Hansen's 1988 graph. According to the Popular Science theory, fossil fuels magically started causing rapid warming of the Earth around 1880, long before the car was invented. According to popular mechanics, fossil fuels are fickle. They caused warming from 1880 to 1940. Then they decided to cause cooling from 1940 to 1970. And then after 1970, the fossil fuels decided to start causing warming again. Popular Science is displaying a completely irrational thought process, typical of religious thinking, but not scientific thinking. There was actually very little rise in greenhouse gases prior to 1950. The Popular Science theory is absurd. Next, I'm going to overlay Hansen's 1988 graph on the current Popular Science temperature graph. Hansen's 1988 graph is the black line up here, and the colored bars down here is the Popular Science graph. Note how much higher Hansen's 1988 temperatures were than the current temperature graph. One of the main reasons for this is that a few years ago, climate scientists decided to start adding in ocean temperatures, whereas Hansen's 1988 temperatures were land only. But there's a big problem here. The ocean temperatures are fake. This is a ClimateGate email from the notorious Phil Jones. We didn't have much ship data in the past. For much of the southern hemisphere between 40 and 60 south, the normals are mostly made up as there is very little ship data there. Oceans make up the bulk of the global temperature record, and a large percentage of that is fake. However, it's not just the ocean data that's fake. A lot of the land data is fake too. Remember the 1940 spike which the Popular Science article was discussing? Well, a few years ago, these same climate scientists decided to get rid of it. The 1940s blip and subsequent cooling wrecked their greenhouse gas theory. This ClimateGate email explains how they got rid of it. If we could reduce the ocean blip by, say, 0.15 degrees centigrade, then this would be significant for the global mean, but we'd still have to explain the land blip. It would be good to remove at least part of the 1940s blip, but we're still left with why the blip? So the climate scientists decided to get rid of the 1940s blip without any explanation for why they were doing it. We are still left with why the blip? Scientists don't operate like this. This is how criminals operate. And indeed, they did remove the 1940s blip. This is the current NASA surface temperature graph. Notice that the 1940s blip and subsequent cooling is gone. They actually show warming now from 1940 to the mid-1970s. In the next graph, I overlay Hansen's 1988 temperatures on the current NASA temperature graph. Note how the 1940s blip and subsequent cooling is gone, just as the scientists plotted in that ClimateGate email. And it wasn't just the 1940s blip that was removed. NASA has actually cooled the entire past. This next graph overlays NASA's 2001 version of surface temperatures on their current version. NASA now shows twice as much warming from 1880 to 2000 as they did in their 2001 version of global temperatures. They did this by massively cooling the past. They're creating warming by cooling the past. Global warming is being driven by religious thinking on the left that humans are guilty and responsible for everything. The Popular Science article says that fossil fuels cause both global warming and global cooling. Basically, everything is humans' fault. It's all about guilt and sin. The prophets of this religion are the climate scientists, and the prophecies come from the climate models. If you don't have faith in the prophets, believe the prophecies, and pay your carbon taxes, a great flood, hellfire, and pestilence will come. And like most religions, the prophets, in this case the climate scientists, are making up fake data to keep the religious faithful in line. Visit Toto on the web at realclimatescience.com. He's been pulling back the curtain on junk science for a long time.